Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Aldiss Park. This might be a first for a video verdict. This is the first video verdict I've certainly ever done. Standing actually on the pitch that Norwich City have played on a little while ago. We are here at Dereham Town in the aftermath of Norwich City's first pre-season friendly for the 2022-23 season. It's ended Norwich City 4, Dereham 0. Could have been probably a lot more in truth, but as we know at this stage of pre-season, it's not all about performances and not even about results necessarily, but it did feel like a win was probably relatively important given the way that last season ended and the fact that all four sides of this ground was filled, mostly with Norwich City fans this evening. A lot of them will have wanted to have seen a marked shift, a marked departure from what we saw last season. A win just helps, as Dean Smith has said before, just papers over the cracks a little bit, and it can help give everyone a little bit of hope, and particularly in pre-season when you tend to find that optimism builds in layers as we move towards obviously that July the 30th date against Cardiff City. And ultimately what we saw here today was probably representative of exactly what this game was. It was a team in Norwich City who play in the Championship against Dereham Town, who are non-league and play at step 4 of non-league football, and that was probably representative in the game that we saw. Norwich City enjoyed vast amounts of possession. I'm not sure that Angus Gunn or Michael McGovern had much to do beyond there was one cross in the first half that Angus Gunn kind of flapped out. Referee judged that he got fouled, but beyond that it was a relatively comfortable evening for everyone involved in yellow and green. It was an evening where they probably allowed to feel their way back into football again after just 41 days, and as we said about confidence, we talk about confidence, probably gave them the opportunity to gain a little bit of confidence on the ball, be a bit more expressive. We saw players like Kenny McLean playing passes that he wasn't playing towards the end of the Premier League season because that confidence, that energy had sapped out of everyone. Albeit, again, the context of everything that I say, it has to be put into the context of the opposition that Norwich City played this evening. So that there is that. Just in terms of kind of the game itself, Norwich City split it. So they had an 11 for the first half and 11 for the second half. Obviously, they're, I think, 10 players away who are enjoying extended breaks after being involved in Nations League games in June. So they're not yet involved with the pre-season schedule. They've also got a few players injured. There was no Isaac Hayden tonight, no Sam Byram, Josh Sargent, Andrew Mbamidele or Adam Ida, who I think were probably earmarked for the second week of pre-season anyway. But there was a few regular faces missing, and what that probably created was, even though Norwich have a big squad, it allowed Dean Smith to make a real mix of kind of first teamers and under 23s, and we saw that in both halves really. And there were some 23s. Liam Gibbs looked very bright in the first half. John Rowe, as he has done, even though he's probably in that bit between the first team and the 23s at the moment, he looked very bright in the second. Saxon early as well, I thought, did a pretty decent job. Impressed with Warner and Jonathan Thompson in the first and second half respectively. So we saw a real mix of talent on display for Norwich City, and I think essentially 41 days after that Premier League season, it did feel today like it was kind of the end of a chapter, the start of a fresh one, and that's what it needed to feel like, I think, given the way that the season collapsed last year, and in many ways we need to park that now. It's done. It's about looking forward. What did we see tonight? We saw two Norwich City teams that played a 4-3-3. Again, very difficult to read anything into pre-season at this stage, but that is the formation, that is the system that Dean Smith has favoured, certainly at Aston Villa, but also at Brentford previously as well. It felt to me like they were a bit more competent off the ball, and that wasn't necessarily just to do with the calibre of opponent, but there were people filling spaces when they needed to. There was a lot more coverage when they lost the ball. They pressed a bit more intelligently, but again, you have to put it in the context of what this is. And that's why I'm probably not going too deep with the analysis tonight. Ultimately, this is an opportunity for Norwich City to build their fitness. It was also Dereham Town's first game of their pre-season as well. So probably didn't represent the kind, well, it did represent the test that they want, but maybe at the wrong stage. We spoke to their manager, Adam Gustafsson, in the week, who said in an ideal world they would have flipped it and played Norwich City last. But when Norwich City come calling and ask you to play a pre-season friendly at any time as a local football club, you take that offer. One word I want to say very, very quickly for Todd Cantwell, and there's obviously been so much said, so much written. We've spoken about him. You've probably spoken about him as well. And the common question that I've been asked a lot, be it on Q&As, be it when I've been out and about and seen Norwich City fans, has been, what's going on with Todd Cantwell? And the answer to that has been very difficult to answer over the last 12 months. He hasn't looked the same footballer. He didn't look like he was playing with the same happiness. He ended the season, obviously, away from the club on loan at Bournemouth. There was a permanent deal inserted into that deal. Of course, £11 million. Scott Parker didn't really choose him towards the end of the season, if we're being honest. He witnessed Bournemouth getting promotion from the stand rather than on the pitch. It didn't pan out maybe in the way that he expected after an initial sparkle at the start of that loan spell. And he's come back from Norwich City, and I think there's been lots of questions about what next and what does next look like. And I think in the weeks leading up to this, and certainly the information that we've been hearing, it kind of felt like a loan on the continent, as he did do with Fortuna Sittard, was probably most likely. But actually today we did see that enthusiasm, that endeavour, that qualities. I'm getting attacked by some sort of bug here, which is excellent. But we did see that enthusiasm and that willingness to take the ball in tight areas. And there was a spark of creativity that Norwich City lacked last season. There was one pass in particular that he played through to Tony Springett for the second goal, which was obviously then Springett was essentially fouled and Hugill tapped it in. But it was that injection of creativity, that spark of enthusiasm that maybe we hadn't quite seen from Todd Cantwell in the last 12 months or so, certainly in a yellow and green shirt. And it was that maybe offers a little bit of encouragement for what the future lies for him, because it was in pre-season in 2019 when he produced a huge amount of really quality performances, but also really consistent performances. And that kind of saw him leap up the pecking order under Daniel Farke and work his way into a Premier League team when very few people expected him to do that. Now, this season, everyone is kind of talking about where next for Todd Cantwell, and a lot of those conversations aren't taking place around Norwich City. And he proved today, actually, that maybe there is still that hunger, that desire, that enthusiasm, that willingness to show the player that we know he can be, which is this quality player technically who makes things happen. And he's the type of player that Norwich City are probably crying out for. And we've just listened to Pad speak to Dean Smith just over the other side. And he spoke about how Norwich is still in the market for a creative midfielder. Well, an on-fire, fit, confident, happy Todd Cantwell negates the need for Norwich City to dip into the market. And that would be probably the result that everybody wants this season. So there we go, a 4-0 win tonight. I'll give a quick mention for the goals. So Jordan Hugill scored the first two. It was a header, and obviously the tap-in that I mentioned from the second goal after good work from Todd Cantwell. The third was from Tom Dixon-Peters, who slotted home after Flynn Clark's neat through ball. And the last one was a penalty from Kieran Dow late on to kind of seal a 4-0 win after John Rowe was bundled over by Ross Billum. Norwich City will now travel to Germany, to Bavaria. They'll play one game on the Saturday against a Bundesliga 2 opponent before coming back and playing Kings Lynn the following week on the Tuesday. So that is the next time that we'll see Norwich City in the UK and have a Norfolk friendly. Before then, I think it's then they jet out to France before coming back and playing Cambridge United before the Scotland leg. So things will ramp up slowly. We're firmly in that fitness building stage of pre-season. Next week will be about that again. Dean Smith spoke of double, perhaps even triple sessions at times as well during that. So it's going to be a tough week for them, and it's we'll see what sort of condition they come back into the UK. And I'm going to get off the pitch and get stopped getting attacked by bugs because I think he's telling me that he wants this grass back. So we better listen to him. Thank you very much for watching. Plenty more, of course, on the Pinken Plus app and pinken.com as well. See you soon.